The reason why you're suffocating under a massive, crushing sense of meaninglessness isn't because the universe is some cold, uncaring machine, though it absolutely might be. It's because you are still, pathetically, waiting for a little piece of purpose to be assigned to you. Honestly, I see this everywhere. It's like we all forgot how to start the engine ourselves. You wait for the spiritual delivery truck. You check your email for the cosmic memo. Maybe you're expecting some perfect predictive AI algorithm to spit out your true calling. Or, and this is the absolute worst one, you're expecting some lovely, kind-hearted therapist to validate an emotional state that, frankly, is a symptom of laziness. This passive posture, this desperate act of waiting for permission to matter, is the foundational, miserable failure of conventional wisdom when it comes to the screaming reality of modern nihilism. Conventional wisdom, that soft, damp blanket society keeps wrapping around you, has utterly, spectacularly failed to even recognize the genuine, burning spiritual crisis we're dealing with today. It tries to treat the actual collapse of inherited meaning, the real void left behind by dead gods and dying narratives, as if it were just a mild clinical symptom, like a head cold. You go in, you explain the terrifying, abyssal weight of existential dread that keeps you pinned to the mattress, and what do you get? Easy, utterly useless platitudes. I mean, seriously. They tell you, try journaling, or maybe find a new hobby, something that sparks joy. Or, the most condescending garbage of all, have you tried getting more sleep? These aren't just not answers. They are intellectual insults. They are placebos designed to simply manage the dull, constant discomfort of meaninglessness, and they absolutely refuse to touch the deeper, more complicated philosophical root of the problem. It's infuriating, isn't it? Nihilism, that stark, cold realization that there are no objective values, that everything we hold sacred is, at its root, a human construction, is not a gentle problem you can solve with better mood tracking or the right kind of tea. It is a fundamental design flaw in the human animal, and it requires a violent, painful, total re-engineering of the self. Conventional wisdom, which is obsessed with comfort, stability, and manufactured Instagram-filtered happiness, is actually working against you. It sells you the beautiful, tragic lie that meaning is a treasure hunt, something already buried and waiting for you to uncover. But the brutal, necessary truth? Meaning is an act of warfare against the terrifying emptiness of the void, and you must arm yourself immediately. To truly, honestly, permanently overcome the meaning crisis, the one that keeps you glued to your phone scrolling for validation, you must burn all the conventional rules about emotional management and embrace a terrifying yet exhilarating set of counterintuitive, strange, wonderful truths. Insight 1. Stop your pathetic search for happiness. Will the necessary suffering. The most poisonous, truly toxic piece of advice conventional thinking keeps recycling is the pathetic command to maximize happiness at all costs and to minimize pain. This is the recipe for creating the last man that Nietzsche, the philosopher who understood suffering better than any therapist alive, so bitterly warned us about. This is the comfortable, conforming, boring animal who values safety, ease, and a low heart rate above literally everything else. This insane avoidance of friction, that essential rub, that necessary grind, is precisely what makes life feel so achingly meaningless. If there's no resistance, there's no pressure to change, right? And no pressure means no growth. The counterintuitive truth, the hard pill. The true, potent antidote to nihilism is not happiness, that flimsy, transient thing. It is radical affirmation. I mean, really look at the worst things in your life. The humiliating failures, the creeping anxiety that keeps you up at 3 a.m., the soul-crushing responsibilities you secretly dread, and you must learn, not just to tolerate them, but to will them to return. This is the ferocious practice of amor fati, the love of fate. It's difficult, incredibly difficult, and it totally obliterates the conventional childish rule that life should feel good all the time. It forces this complete, necessary, brutal psychological reframing. When you affirm your suffering, you yank its power to paralyze you out by the roots. Instead of viewing that massive professional setback as just proof that the universe hates you, you view it, instead, as specific, tailored, necessary training. It's the exact weight you require to finally forge the intellectual and emotional strength needed for whatever glorious creation comes next. I remember when I missed a major career deadline. It felt like the world was ending, that sickly green feeling in my stomach, but looking back, that stress built the discipline I use every single day. Viktor Frankl, God, what a man, discovered this principle, this terrible, beautiful insight in the most awful laboratory human history ever provided, the concentration camps of the Nazis. He saw that the prisoners who found the internal strength to survive weren't the ones obsessed with minimizing their pain or finding temporary comfort, but those who locked on to a singular, burning, future-oriented responsibility, a meaning so large it transcended the unbearable torment they were currently living through. They didn't survive despite the pain. That's a misreading. They survived because they took that pain and seamlessly, ruthlessly integrated it into a self-authored, immense narrative. To achieve this absolute, radical affirmation, you have to stop asking that weak, whining question. What does life owe me, damn it? And you have to start asking, what is the crushing, impossible task? The thing that makes my palms sweat, that only I, in this specific corner of time and space, can actually take on. That tension, that profound weight of responsibility, is the only reliable engine for producing genuine, long-lasting meaning. Insight 2. Meaning is a violent, messy act of creation, not a gentle act of discovery. The mainstream vanilla approach to finding purpose keeps telling you, go look deep inside. Your purpose is a little seed, dormant, just waiting to be found and watered. Ugh, this causes endless loops of pointless introspection, those awful weekend self-help retreats that just make you feel emptier, and endless passive vision boarding. It's an emotionally paralyzing lie because it whispers that purpose is some scarce, hidden, external thing that you must discover through passive, gentle searching. It's like searching for a lost sock in a massive laundry pile, but the sock doesn't actually exist yet. The counterintuitive truth, the hard-ass reality. Purpose is not waiting in the tall grass. It does not exist at all. It must be violently, lovingly imposed upon this neutral, cold, indifferent world by your own two hands. If the cosmos is objectively meaningless, then meaning, the thing you desperately need, is an act of human invention. It is the most beautiful, terrifying artistic project imaginable. Your purpose is not waiting for you in some quiet, dappled garden of introspection. It is waiting for you in the sparks and the roar, in the smoke and fire of your forging efforts. Get ready to sweat, seriously. This single insight forces the essential, dramatic shift from the consumer mentality. What can the world offer me today, or tomorrow, to the urgent producer mentality? What can I absolutely, ruthlessly impose onto this world with the limited tools I have? Just look at literally any truly influential figure, the people who actually move the needle. Their goal wasn't just to find their passion in their chosen field. It was to solve some truly audacious, human-level, existential problem. They didn't discover those responsibilities, they invented them, and they invented them with aggression. The conventional rules of self-help preach, "Follow your bliss, little bird." The unconventional truth screams back, "Create a burden so essential, so difficult, that the act of carrying it becomes the only genuine bliss you'll ever need." Meaning, real meaning, is forged only at the absolute chaotic cutting edge of your competence, at the point where you are completely forced to synthesize every last bit of your will just to overcome a self-imposed, utterly massive obstacle. That's the feeling you crave. Insight 3. Reject the soft comfort zone. Actively seek out voluntary hardship. Conventional wisdom treats stress, treats challenge, treats difficulty as the enemy that must be immediately, ruthlessly eradicated. We're told that burnout is the absolute failure, the worst thing that can happen, and this leads to this endless, pathetic quest for perfect ergonomic chairs, unlimited time off, which just makes you feel more anxious, ironically, and some kind of permanent emotional stasis. Look, rest is essential, obviously, but this core philosophy fundamentally, destructively misunderstands human psychology. The counterintuitive truth, the biological necessity. We, as a species, absolutely require controlled, voluntary suffering to build up our internal defenses against the existential void. From a psychological standpoint, human beings are actually anti-fragile in key domains. We don't just endure stressors, we need them to get stronger. When life is too safe, too soft, too predictable, the mind turns inward, it becomes bored, and it starts inventing its own massive problems. Anxiety, deep-seated dread, a chronic, awful ennui, just to find friction. It's a survival mechanism gone wrong. This is the comfort zone paradox. The very safety you are seeking is actively breeding the deep meaninglessness that you fear and hate. It always works that way. This is exactly why all the ancient philosophical traditions, the Stoics, the Cynics, the ones who actually survived, all advocated for harsh asceticism, and why every modern high-performance field embraces structured, often arbitrary difficulty. Think about the cold plunge craze everyone's doing now. It's hilarious, but it works. Why are they doing it? It's an aggressive, totally voluntary act of profound discomfort. You subject yourself to this brutal, non-threatening stressor. It won't actually kill you, probably. You do it not primarily for the physical benefits, those are secondary distractions, but because the instant you step into that shocking 39-degree water, your internal, messy noise is instantly, violently silenced. You are forced to focus on the singular, terrifying task of pure endurance. You prove to yourself in a visceral, undeniable, shocking way that your will is vastly stronger than your miserable little mood. The conventional rule says, if it feels bad, stop, turn around. The unconventional, necessary imperative is, if it feels absolutely agonizing, press harder, lean into it, because this precise moment is where the soft, malleable metal of yourself finally folds and hardens into steel. Go find that cold water, whatever it is. Run that extra 2 miles when your lungs are burning. Take on the monstrous professional project you are not yet qualified for. The daily, almost ridiculous willingness to face a self-imposed, unnecessary hardship is the only spiritual workout that will effectively strengthen your will to meaning, far more than scrolling through yet another therapist-recommended gratitude journal. Insight 4. The scarcity principle. Embrace the hard limit of your death. Conventional thinking views death as the ultimate, unforgivable failure, a massive, terrifying event to be perpetually postponed, minimized, or spiritually bypassed with vague, comforting thoughts about the afterlife. Society, honestly, it conspires to keep mortality safely out of view, ensuring that we can all live in this perpetually soft, ridiculous illusion of limitless time. This illusion is the single biggest enabler of nihilistic procrastination and postponement. I'm convinced of it. The counterintuitive truth, the hard-edged logic. Your very meaning is irrevocably derived from your finitude. The simple, elegant clock itself is what makes the expensive watch valuable. In good, old-fashioned economics, scarcity is what drives value, right? Simple. If you had endless time, every single action you took would have an infinitely low value, because you could always delay it until tomorrow. When you fully, truly accept the hard, non-negotiable limit of your own death, your lifespan as a finite, measurable quantity, time instantly, violently, becomes the most precious, absolutely non-renewable resource you possess. It's a sudden, stunning wake-up call. This is the principle of memento mori. Remember you will die. A necessary, daily practice embraced by the old Stoics. It's not morbid. It's a profound organizational tool. It's the ultimate prioritization hack. Imagine you have just one, totally non-renewable material left, your remaining lifespan, and just one blueprint, your self-created purpose. Would you honestly spend that remaining material constructing something flimsy, conventional, and utterly forgettable, something based on what your tired old relatives expect? Or would you ruthlessly cut away all non-essential activities, the shallow networking, the endless, brain-killing screen time, the passive consumption of vapid content, to focus with terrifying intensity on building your singular, necessary masterpiece? The urgency is the point. The conventional rule is to distract yourself from mortality with games and endless scrolling. The unconventional, necessary call is to weaponize mortality. Use the knowledge of the end, that final crushing deadline, not as a fear to flee from, but as the ultimate, necessary motivator to act with immediate, profound consequence. Your life's masterpiece, after all, is only 1,500 words long, not 1.5 million. Every single sentence must count for something real. The insane urgency created by this scarcity is the single, pulsating lifeblood of all meaning. Seriously, stop searching. Start forging. You are alive in a specific, precarious moment where the giant, monolithic narratives that used to hand out meaning have utterly, irreversibly collapsed. The spiritual void is not theoretical. The deep, creeping terror is real. And the conventional solutions, the watered-down therapy, the forced, shallow positivity, the endless, pathetic pursuit of ease, are nothing more than thin, useless gauze over a gaping, existential wound. The path to overcoming nihilism is not a passive, gentle search. It is an aggressive, self-authorized, and painful creation. It absolutely demands that you shed the conventional wisdom of ease, comfort, and passive discovery. You have to be strong enough to do this alone. Stop waiting for some pathetic, external purpose to eventually reveal itself, like a prize in a cereal box. Stop looking for happiness in the complete, fragile absence of pain. Instead, right now, 1. Affirm the agony. Take your burdens, your anxiety, your failure, not as a punishment, but as the only raw, necessary material for forging your strength. 2. Impose the vision. Grab the raw, indifferent chaos of the world and violently stamp your unique, self-created purpose onto it. Don't ask permission. 3. Seek the friction. Go choose a voluntary hardship today, a task that demands maximum, uncomfortable confrontation, and prove your will is superior to your mood. 4. Embrace the end. Use the absolute certainty of your death, your finite clock, not as something to fear and run from, but as the ultimate, crushing motivator to act with immediate, profound consequence. Your life will not, cannot, become meaningful by accident. It will only become meaningful when you finally decide, with ruthless, cold certainty, that the only purpose your life ever needed was the one you were brave enough to build. Pick up the hammer, and for God's sake, start forging your own salvation now.